Welcome back, everyone. So for today's video, I wanted to dive into the first of the 4 Tekken promo characters. This one being Paul Phoenix. I just picked a random one to go off first, because I've built all 4 of them already, and Paul won the die roll. So Paul is a 6 hand size, 29 health character. He's got all fire and order as his symbols. He's got the brawler trait, which is going to be really fun to use, I'm sure, once we get more fighting game licenses. He's got 2 enhances, the first of which is discard 1 card, there's your cost, your attack gets stun 2. So this is not a keyword locked ability, any of your attacks can get stun 2. So that's really powerful there. And then enhance once per turn, your kick or punch attack gets +1 damage for each committed rival foundation. That is a very powerful, very potent damage pump ability, especially when you're giving all of your attacks stun, so your rival has less and less options for a later string defense. Now, I built this deck off of order, because your punch or kick attack, I thought to go for kicks, and there was one specific kick that as soon as I saw this character, I knew I wanted to play. But, off chance, I might do Patreon exclusive deck profiles for all of these characters, except for maybe Ling, because I don't think there's another way to play Ling other than the way I built her. Maybe, I don't know. But I've already got one Patreon exclusive deck profile up there for one of these characters. But I might do a second one, who knows? So if you want to help support the channel and get a bunch of bonus content, follow me on Patreon. But getting into the deck list, I wanted to go with an Order Kicks package. And to start my attack lineup, I wanted Female Titan attacks. This is a 7 difficulty, 4 control, 1 high block, 7 high for 7. It's got Shift and Titan, not Punch or Kick. But as a blitz, we can draw 1 card and ready 1 backup. Don't need to worry about the readying a backup, really, because the only 2 backups in the deck are the shifted Female Titan attacks, and there's only 2 of them. But drawing a card, and then, so we play this as our first attack, obviously. We wouldn't want to play this later in a string. And then drawing a card so we're back up to 6, and then discarding a card so we're back down to 5, so we really just paid for Paul's Enhance for free to give this 7 high 7 stun 2 is pretty good. Plus, when you shift it into the backup, as a form, you can commit it and lose 4 stamina. You mill 2 cards, and mill 2 off the top of your deck. Choose a punch or kick attack in your discard pile and add it to your hand. So this is going up +1 to your hand size, and it's getting an attack that you're really going to want to play. And as an enhance, you can commit Female Titan, lose 1 stamina, your attack gets +2 speed. So good after you've used it to pick something up, to just continuously give speed to all of your already powerful attacks. But the kick that I really wanted to play, 2 of them actually. First being Recipro Turbo. This is from a Girl Power, I believe. Yeah, the Crescent Moon. It's a 5/3, 4 mid for 5 with a 2 mid block. It's got EX4 and kick, which is insane. That means for every momentum you spend on that EX ability, you get 4 speed. But as an enhance, your other kick attacks this turn get +2 speed. Your non-attack cards get +1 difficulty this turn. So you play this as your first attack, you give it stun 2, and then you give all of your other kick attacks during the turn 2 speed, on top of getting stun 2 with Paul. That is effectively +4 speed on every attack that you want to play. That is huge. And enhance, if this is the only card in your card pool, draw 1 card or add 1 card from your hand to your momentum. We don't really use a lot of momentum except for EX and vertical maneuvering equipment. So we can just draw an extra card, go back to our printed hand size after this is the first attack we've played, and then Paul's plus stun 2 discard 1 card ability is free. So really powerful there. Next up is Turbo Speed Dash. This is the other card I wanted to play. It's a 4/3, 4 high for 4 with a 2 mid block, EX3 and kick. As a response, after this card resolves, so after the damage step, if it dealt damage, draw 1 card, refilling your hand. If your rival has 8 or more foundations, draw 1 card. So this can effectively draw you 2 cards. After, of course, discarding 1 to pay for the... Hi, Sam. to pay for the stun 2 cost on Paul. So you may only do 4 damage, but drawing 2 cards potentially is really powerful, especially on a 4 difficulty attack. So if you play the Recipro Turbo, you know, draw 1 card, discard a card for Paul, make it stun 2. This is probably going to hit. And then Turbo Speed Dash, discard a card, give it stun 2. It's got 2 speed because of Recipro. It's a 6 high 4, and your rival's committed 4 foundations. This is going to hit for 4, drawing you 2 cards, so you're effectively back up to your printed hand size again. Or you'd be at 5, because you play 1, draw, you're at 6, discard. Play 1, you're at 4. Discard 1, you're at 3. Draw 2, you're at 5. So yeah, you've only really lost 1 card in your hand for giving 2 attacks stun 2. Really, really powerful there. Next we have Rising Engine Kick. This is tricky because it's a 2 control move. It's a 4 difficulty 2 check, 3 low 4 with a +2 low block, very nice block there, with EX2 and Kick. This says as an enhance, your next kick attack gets -2 difficulty. That's huge, especially if you, say, check a 2 during your string. That's really rough. Maybe running the 7 with 2 checks is dangerous, but I like to live dangerously. And you can commit a foundation as an enhance. This attack gets +2 damage, and your rival has to spend a momentum. So it becomes a 3 low for 6, and your rival has to spend a momentum. They lose one of their resources. Really good, especially as a mid to late string card, especially if you have 1 more attack in your hand, to be able to throw after this 3 low 6, possibly 3 low 6 stun 2, that's forcing your rival to deal with it. Speaking of damage and dealing with it, we have Falling Thruster Kick, a 4/3, 2 high for 4 with a +2 low block. It's got EX3, Kick, and Combo EX. So to use this combo enhance, the card immediately preceding Falling Thruster Kick in your card pool has to have the EX ability. And the combo enhances this attack, it's 3 damage. So this become a 2 high for 7, possibly 2 high for 7 stun 2 at the end of a string when your rival's all committed out and maybe has some cards in their card pool. This could be some really efficient damage to get on the board. And lastly, we have Roundhouse Exhaust, a 4/3, 3 mid for 5 with a +2 high block. It's got EX2, Kick, and Combo with a Kick. The combo enhance being the speed of this attack cannot be reduced by rival effects. You don't get to barrier shield me. You don't get to, defend the rear. -3 speed on this. Nothing. And then enhance, if this attack speed is 6 or greater, commit 1 rival foundation. You selectively commit a foundation. If you've, say, given this speed with Recipro Turbo, to make that 5, and then spent 1 for EX to make it 7 mid 5, you can selectively target something. Pretty powerful. You can just get rid of their best defensive piece for your later string. But that's all for the attacks. Not much in damage on the attacks, but remember, any kick that we play can use Paul Phoenix's once per turn. So this, Rising Engine Kick, or this Exhausted Roundhouse, as your third or fourth attack, your rival's all committed out, they can't block it, you just dump all of that damage onto this one card. Really, really powerful there. For assets, we've got Vertical Maneuvering Equipment. This is easily one of the best cards in the game right now, offensively and defensively. We can spend a momentum. This attack gets +3 or -3 speed, and we may change its zone. So using our momentum defensively, we can guarantee that we perfect block pretty much anything our rival throws at us. Or we can give +3 speed to something like the Roundhouse Exhaust, which needs to have a speed of 6 or greater. I don't think anything else has a plus speed thing. We can give speed to Falling Thruster Kick or Rising Engine Kick. These lower speed moves to guarantee that we're going to push that damage through, that 6 damage, that 7 damage later in a string. And we can commit as an enhance, this attack is +2 damage, so a little bit of damage pump at the end of a string if we're going in for the kill. And if this attack deals damage to a backup, we get to ready this asset. So if we're just trying to clear our rival's backups off the board, something like a Colossal Titan, or if we've been forced to attack a Smiling Titan, or we've seen some, at least one backup, Grisha's Attack Titan in the previews for Attack on Titan Set 2 so far. This could be a very usable ability now, just to get that piece off the board. This will ready, and we can continue using it. And one of my favorite defensive pieces, we have Item Box. We can commit it, return this attack to all of its printed speed and damage, return it to a printed attack zone, and if it was unblockable, it is no longer unblockable. One of the best defensive pieces in the game right now. I love it. It's amazing. It says goodbye, Smiling Titan. Or at least Smiling Titan's easier to deal with. Even though that card's still a problem. And for actions, we have Showdown. After we block with this card, as a response, we can selectively commit 2 rival foundations. The fewer foundations they go into our turn with, the better, because that's the fewer cards we have to discard to give stun to, and the more damage that our once per turn gives. But also, as a response, we can commit 2 foundations. After our rival plays an ability on an action card, we can cancel it. So if they're trying to do Chomp, which is going around right now, we can cancel it by committing 2 foundations. If they're trying to Barrier Shield at a very critical time on maybe our final attack that's going in for lethal, we can negate their Barrier Shield. We can cancel it. This will stay in the card pool, so it will count towards progressive for the turn, but if we're going in for that kill and they try to Barrier Shield us, we can absolutely put a stop to that. Onto our foundations, we have Feral Shriek. We get to remove this card as a response. After we discard it during the combat phase, we get to draw a card. This makes Paul's gaining stun 2 ability virtually free. And as a response, if it's in our stage, after our rival's combat phase begins, we get to discard 1 card and draw 1 card, so hopefully fish for some better block zones. We have Mikasa's Admission. We get to remove this after we discard it during the combat phase. This attack gets +2 or -2 damage, so again, getting the stun 2, and then giving our attack an additional +2 damage is very powerful. We have Crisis of Confidence. As a form, we can commit this, spend 1 momentum, freeze 1 rival foundation. That's huge, especially considering we're committing a bunch of our rival's foundations on our turn, and then if our rival has 8 or more foundations, we get to freeze 2 foundations instead. Very powerful to lock down our rival's 2 best offensive foundations, to if we're not able to kill them, so that they go into their next turn with 2 less resources, especially if we're holding a Showdown block in hand. That's really, really powerful. We have Nullifying Force. This is good defense. As a response, we can flip it. After an attack is played, its damage cannot be modified. We've seen this be very powerful against cards like Twisting Azure Inferno, or against Smiling Titan, so that these attacks can't get these huge damage bonuses. So, or if we're worried about our rival reducing our damage to 0, we can just lock ourselves into printed damage, if we absolutely needed to. I don't see why you would, but you could. And then we have Fighting for Control. I love defensive check hack. Response on our rival's turn, we flip this card. After our rival makes a check to play a non-foundation card, that check gets -2. Now, failing the check will not end the combat phase, but it could tell them, especially someone like Smiling Titan, you just committed 4 foundations, well, now you have to commit 2 more. Do you really want to commit all this, or do you want to let that attack go and I don't get hit by it? Up to you. We have Secret Family Technique. This is a 1/5 foundation that says Enhanced Commit. Your kick attack gets +2 speed. That's really great. And if it deals damage, we draw 1 card. We always want to be drawing cards to make sure that we're refilling our hand for Paul's effect. So, Secret Family Technique, absolute 4 of on the kick package in this deck. Really, really powerful here. We have Acrobatic Style. This is a response, Tenacious, Flip. After a rival foundation is committed due to our effect, say, Stun, we get to ready this card. So we get to ready to continue our long strings that we're going in. We can commit this on our first attack, give our attack stun 2, they stun 2, we ready this card, we just keep going. Botan's Coaching is really good, both for mixing up our blocks and attacks and our rivals' blocks and attacks. We flip this, both players discard a card and draw 1 card, so we can discard a foundation and hopefully draw an attack. We could discard something like Feral Shriek to draw a 2nd card, or Mikasa's Admission to get an extra 2 damage, or we can discard Mikasa's Admission defensively for -2 damage, if we needed to do that. Can't Escape Me, we can use this to stop our rival from drawing cards, or adding any sort of cards to their hand. And in a deadlock situation, we can commit it to give our attack 1 speed for each committed rival foundation. That is a speed version of Paul's damage boost, which in deadlock can become deadly. Just absolutely ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, we have Ice Gliding for speed boost and speed reduction. I don't think Ice Gliding needs much of an introduction. It's a really common card. It's really good, both for keeping us alive and making sure we end games. We have Making the Stand. As you've seen, we don't have a lot of speed or of damage boost in the deck, so we can make everything a stun. And this says for free as an enhance, our stun attack gets +1 damage. So with these stacking up, we can give +2, +3 damage to every attack that we play, as long as we give it that stun. Or we can flip this to force our rival to spend a momentum. So if our rival's got vertical maneuvering equipment, we can shut that off right there. We've got Final Test. Form Flip, if we've discarded a card this combat phase, we draw a card. Paul discards to give things stun. We want to make sure that we're getting all of those cards back. So really useful card here. And then we've got Foresight. The deck needed more low blocks, and I thought having some zeros would be useful with the 2 checks we have here. But we can also remove this to reveal the top card of either player's deck. So we can remove this as an enhance to look at the top card of our deck to see if we want to draw something with Final Test or Secret Family Technique. If we see there's an attack on top, we can absolutely use some of our draw support to get that extra attack. Or if we see it's a foundation, we can just play another attack. And then response, after we play this card, we get to look at the top card of our deck. Deck knowledge is always useful. It's very powerful information. But yeah, that is going to be my first Paul Phoenix deck. Everyone was really excited for Paul when he was first previewed. And I can see why. This dude's going to be a menace. This guy is going to be a pain. But it's going to be fun. And like I said, I'm going to probably be doing a Patreon exclusive deck for each of these 4, which is going to be different from the deck I show on the YouTube channel. So if you want more deck content and maybe a couple of extra videos a month, go ahead and follow that link below to subscribe to my Patreon. It's not a lot of money, but it does help the channel a lot. If you like the video and like deck profile content, please give the video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I could always use more friends. Whew, as desperate as that makes me sound. But anyway.